Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Jack, and welcome back to another video. And before starting today's commentary, I just wanted to say that the first gameplay is going to be Black Ops 4, and the second gameplay of today's video is going to be World War II. So I more than understand that there are a certain number of you guys that are pretty much getting bored of Black Ops 4, and some of you to the degree that you don't even want to see gameplay. So I tried to make both sides of the coin happy by adding in some World War II gameplay, and at the same time I'm aware that there are those of you that just don't mind Black Ops 4, and some of you don't mind it as long as you don't play it and you don't mind watching it. So whichever side of the coin you're on, hopefully the gameplay will suffice. And with that out of the way, let's get straight into this commentary. So as predicted, Modern Warfare 4 leaks are already starting to happen, and as of a recent source that has been partially credible and partially not credible, like in other words, what I'm trying to say is half the time this person was spot on and made the predictions correctly or leaked previous information correctly, and then the other half of the time they were way off or completely wrong. So I guess everything is to be taken with a grain of salt, as Nero Cinema would like to say. But with all that being said, if this shit is true, then potentially we could have a damn good year of Call of Duty coming up, because, well, when you hear the leaks that basically there's not going to be a Battle Royale mode in the game, and that in and of itself is great. And also for the campaign, because I've said it time and time again throughout my previous videos, especially during the Black Ops 4 life cycle, even though the campaign doesn't hold the majority of the people that play this game anymore in terms of numbers, there's still a decent chunk of the community that plays campaign. And then don't forget, there's also, like, there are some multiplayer guys that actually love the campaign, and they go through it once or twice or whatnot, and then that's it. So I'm really happy that if these leaks are true, that the campaign will be making a return. And as far as the no Battle Royale is concerned, this is great too. I mean, don't get me wrong, no disrespect to everybody that loves Battle Royale, but there are so many different iterations and versions of it, and even free versions too. I mean, Warface has a free version now. I briefly played that game last week, just for shits and giggles. Let's see, what else? I think Battlefield either has one or is coming up with one, obviously. Fortnite is completely free. Apex Legends, everybody says that Apex Legends is amazing. Well, at least most people do. Who knows, I might even get on and give that game a shot when they come out with solos. I mean, if I decide to, maybe, I don't know. It's still too slow pace for me, and it's still I don't really enjoy grinding for loot before getting into engagements, and just the overall pace of the game is just slow or whatnot. But again, I respect the genre and I respect the people that respect it, so that's that. But at the same time, it gives Treyarch more time to kind of perfect Blackout or their version as well, so, and to make it even better, or maybe keep on updating the map and making all the changes that Battle Royale fans say that the game needs to be made. Obviously, the biggest thing one of the biggest things that I keep on hearing about left and right is how level 3 armor just doesn't need to be in the game. But anyway, that's a different subject, and who knows, maybe in one of my next videos I'll talk about how I would make Battle Royale. Well, I don't even know if it would be called Battle Royale anymore, but it's kind of like a spin-off off of Battle Royale that basically combines the fast-paced gameplay of what we love about Call of Duty and combining it with Battle Royale to a certain degree. So, but anyway, let's stay on subject here, and that's about the Modern Warfare 4 leaks. So, campaign being in the game is obviously a good thing. People are going to be extremely happy about that, especially the campaign people. Zombies, they say, is not going to be in it. So on one hand, I think that's a good thing, because Zombies has been coming out pretty much every year, and you don't want zombies to die out before Call of Duty dies out, if that makes any sense, if that even happens. But you don't really want to overdo anything, and they say that the create a class system is going to be completely different in how that's going to work. So it's like, hey, this is great. I mean, Pick 10 was great for its time and everything, and I still think Pick 10 is great. But if they can make it to a point to where they can make another unique version of creative class that's even less limiting, and where you can add in a percentage of whatever you want and take away a certain percentage and get more of a percentage of this, I mean, I think it makes it very, very unique. And at the same time, from the pubs, as far as pubs are concerned, you're going to see a whole bunch of different combinations and things. So, and it just gives you more freedom in terms of what you can do with your creative class while keeping base formula of basic, and without necessarily ripping off of anything else and coming up with something that's fairly new. And if those rumors are right, then that's awesome. Also, Infinity Ward, as of lately, has definitely seemed to be a lot more community friendly, because quite frankly, we could definitely use that, especially the Call of Duty community, because the BR community has been getting pretty much all the attention, if not most of it. And I can understand that from a business standpoint, but at the same time, you know what? I wanted to mention this in previous videos, and I might as well mention it now. Some of you guys in the comment section have been saying there's no way the same Treyarch has been that made previous Black Ops games made this one, and I'm starting to think that, well, maybe there's something going on behind the scenes. Maybe, I don't know, maybe there's been a lot of changes that have been made. Maybe some Treyarch employees were let off ever since Activision has laid off like 800 employees or something like that, or whatever it was. So I mean, you never know. I mean, there could have been some serious downsizing. Something could have happened. I mean, it's definitely a possibility. It certainly shows in this game. So we can't really not think about that, because that could be something as well. But yeah, and of course, when you don't have Battle Royale, or you don't have, when you don't have a whole brand new game mode to worry about, like Battle Royale, which is something that COD never did before Blackout, this allows them a lot more time to focus on multiplayer, which for the last few years, a decent chunk of the community has been feeling let down by the multiplayer. World War II got better after the big patch, but by the time that happened, it was already too late. There were a certain percentage of players that came back, but at the same time, there are also players that just didn't like the base of World War II as well. It could have been the streaks that pretty much were a turnoff for a lot of people. It could have been the maps. It could have been like all these other different things. The create a class system. So a lot of people also say the create a class system was a huge letdown. Personally speaking, I think right now it would be a hell of a lot better if they just made it by default to have 2 basic trainings, or 2 ribbons instead of 1 by default, and then that 1 perk, or that 1 division that allows for an extra basic training. Well, let's beef that up to 3. So, but that's just my opinion. Some of you agree, some of you might disagree. I don't know, but that's my take on it. But yeah, in terms of Modern Warfare 4, I strongly believe that this game, especially with the brand name as well, and with the way Infinity Ward has been in terms of their friendliness with the community, as well as the fact that their microtransaction system, or whatever you want to call it, or they have a grind factor in the game. Infinite Warfare has a tremendous grind factor. You can literally grind for every weapon that you want, which is great. There were a whole bunch of unique variants. And the thing is, throughout the Modern Warfare series, from COD 4 through Modern Warfare 3, there have been so many weapons that fans love. I mean, even if it's the same type of weapon, I mean, the Modern Warfare 2 Scar and the Modern Warfare 3 Scar, even though they might have the same name, even though they might be the same kind of Scar, or if not a similar, again, you can always make those weapons different, or you can just create different versions of them or variations. And, for instance, if they have, like, basically, they could do the same kind of damage, so that way one doesn't have an advantage over the other to keep the balance in the game. But if the weapon has a unique look to it, or if the iron sights are slightly modified a little bit, like, for instance, if you enjoy the iron sights of a certain weapon, that can make a big difference for you in terms of how you create a class, because there's less to worry about in terms of creating a class. And you can just use the iron sights, and you can create a class and focus your energy and points, or whatever they're going to do for Modern Warfare 4, or a percentage. You can focus on putting that somewhere else. So, because iron sights can make or break a weapon. Obviously some people don't have a problem putting a red dot on there, and I understand that. But at the same time, if you can save yourself a certain percentage or points or something like that from create a class to apply it somewhere else, then hey, why not? So I'm all about that. And quite frankly, I believe that when you put everything into play, they just have to keep the basics of what makes Call of Duty great. They need to keep up their hit detection, because Infinity Ward is known for amazing hit detection. And quite frankly, with their hit detection, it's one of the things that makes Call of Duty so great. I mean, 8 Thoughts posted a video, was it yesterday, and he nailed it right on the head, man. Great hit detection can make or break a Call of Duty game. I'd say the only Call of Duty game that literally got away with it, and is still one of the best Call of Duties ever made, was Black Ops 1, because the Black Ops 1 hit detection was not good. But the rest of the game was so good that we let it slide. So there's the hit detection, and they got to make sure the kill streaks or the score streaks are great. They got to bring back specialists, because specialists was great, and I think a lot of people have been missing it. They've been requesting it, and since they're so community friendly, I have little to no doubt that they're going to bring it back. Again, the score streaks, the maps. I think that that we shouldn't go back to the way the maps were in Ghosts. Well, at least the bigger maps in Ghosts. I didn't have much of a problem with more of the regular size maps in Ghosts, at least not much of a problem, but you don't want to make it to a point to where things are so unpredictable because you're adding in extra spawn points because of the way the maps are built, to where things are just overly random and unpredictable to where you can't predict spawn points. So yeah, I mean, again, you put everything together, Modern Warfare 4 has the most potential ever. And the thing is this, the only thing that scares me about all this is that we said the same thing about Black Ops 4. It's like no way that Treyarch could fuck up. And at the same time, history does repeat itself. And we're saying right now that there's no way that Infinity Ward can fuck up. But let's keep our heads straight, and let's stay in reality for a second, and let's not get carried away with ourselves here. And we have to be realistic, and we have to say that, hey, no matter what the odds are, there's still a possibility that they could fuck up and that the game could be underwhelming. So one of the things that we could do is stay level-headed, stay in reality, and at the same time, don't put all our eggs in one basket, because we're going to set ourselves up for big disappointment if there's a screw-up. So in that sense, while having that mentality of just holding yourself back a little bit, can kind of help lessen and minimize the impact of what a great disappointment of Modern Warfare 4 will have. Because at this point right now, it's at the same time, it's very understandable, because we reached a point right now to where our expectations are high, and rightfully so. Sometimes we do need to lower our expectations, especially with what we've been going through lately. But at the same time, especially with Infinity Ward right now, in terms of what they've shown us in the past and what they're capable of. And on top of that, there's also the old members of Infinity Ward that are back now, that went to Respawn and then I guess came back to Infinity Ward now. So you put those two together, you have a recipe for success, at least in theory. So if these guys play their cards right and they do everything correctly, I'd say Modern Warfare 4 is going to be a great year. And yeah, that's all I got for this one, guys. Those are the thoughts that I have in terms of what's going to happen. And next month is the month. If not before that, there's going to be even more leaks. So next month is going to be the month of reveal. Some of you guys have been telling me that they're going to reveal at an event like GDC or something like that. I don't know what you guys said, but one of you guys said something like that to me. Or they can just do their own thing. I mean, Call of Duty's big enough to where they can have their own reveal event. So who knows? Maybe they did it for Treyarch so that way they can beef up the hype, so that way they can maximize sales even though their game was going to fuck up. So, but with Infinity Ward, you never know. I mean, they could just, whether the game is going to be a success or not, they can certainly do their own thing. But I personally think Call of Duty at this point can use all the legitimate hype as it can get, because we need a good game. And yeah, that's all I got for this one, guys. That's what I think. So let me know down in the comment section what your opinions are and what you think. And as always, guys, if you enjoyed this video, let me know. And if you didn't, let me know what I can do to make my videos better. I'll catch you guys on the next one.